Hello, my friend. How are you today? I hope you are doing very wonderful. Thank you for joining me here. Thank you so very much. This series is known as Thank You Life, and I am Aaron Suzurik. I'm a 200-hour yoga teacher. I teach in Niles Gerard area at the yoga room. This is open to the public. I also teach at a rehab facility and at a nursing home. So my public class is noon to 1 every Monday, just in case you're in the area and you would like to come too. So with that said, this this episode of Thank You Life is all about honesty. And what I mean by honesty is taking what we talked about last week in the form of gratitude. Thank you, life, for gratitude. Well, honesty is a way for us to kind of hold the door open that gratitude leads us to. The doorway, the pathway that I mean that gratitude opens for us is a way for health and happiness in our lives experience because we are open to it. We are grateful for the circumstances in our lives. So we naturally align to the more positive side of things. We align more to the happy, joyous side of things rather than dwelling on the negative side of things. So, for honesty, thank you, life, for honesty. Basically, we keep a check on how we are feeling moment to moment, how we are experiencing life moment to moment. We are honest with ourselves. This doesn't mean that we find that we place ourselves in a state of obligation or any kind of drudgery based on what we think we should have to be doing in life. We do our best to experience life in a way that welcomes in joy and welcomes in gratitude by being honest with ourselves. This might mean letting go of some friendships or maybe some activities that we have become useful that are no longer serving us, that aren't quite healthy for us to take part in long term. their pleasure might be their pleasure might be that they do excite us. They do make us happy and joyful in a way that comes from being excited and to feel that rush of energy. But then eventually we can't sustain the effort and we kind of collapse in on ourselves. This could be any form of addictive substance, drugs or alcohol. This can also be entertainment. This can be overeating and any sort of food, or this can be any activity, maybe extreme sports, for example. It can be fun, the rush, but the injuries that result as participating in these sports for a long period of time is not very good for long term comfortability in our bodies as they become broken and they become harder, increasingly harder to use in everyday activities. So, this is one way to think about honesty when it comes to these things we participate in our lives, being honest with ourselves and how we feel about them. And it also, of course, goes into our interactions with others. If we are just telling the truth, I've always viewed dishonesty as running away from yourself, running away from the true circumstances that we are living within, and not wanting to deal with the things that could be difficult for us at this moment. And it's okay not to feel that we always have the answers, But when we're not willing to look for the solutions to the problems that are before us through lie and deceit, well, then we just create more and more problems as a result. We make circumstances more and more difficult for us because wherever we go, wherever we find ourselves, we are right there waiting for ourselves. And the same issues will come up again and again, no matter where we are in time and in space. We always have what we have to deal with and to work with, and until we do, it'll always be there. Also, to be honest with yourself in just the way you live your life. If it makes you happy, the job you're in, the the friends that you have, the the house that you live in, the surroundings that you're living in, whether you're in nature or whether you're in the city, really feeling to yourself at a deep, earnest level what it would be to be most healthy and happy for within your journey, within who you are at the present moment. It's always important to just do this, do this evaluation moment to moment to make sure you're keeping that doorway open for gratitude, the doorway for health and happiness open. We do this by checking ourselves on a regular basis, finding what is our honest feeling about circumstances of our life and what is something that needs improved, that we are maybe deceiving ourselves within because it might have become comfortable, or we might have never really known that there was another possibility. But that's one reason why practices like yoga and mindfulness exist, so we can really see things as they are, so we can be less distracted and reactive to things in life. And we can put some space between us and those circumstances and just see things as they are, not as we've been programmed to see them through culture, society, hereditary, genetics, but just to see them as they are, which in a lot of ways can be a lot more easy to take than the fantasies that we make up of the future and the past. The present moment is never quite as scary as the things that I can imagine sometimes. Of course, all of this is up to your experience, and I hope you can take away from it whatever um, helps you the most. And you can evaluate it on your own, not taking my words necessarily as the end all and be all truth. Always learning about yourself and taking the experiences, whether they be listening to me or someone else, and bringing them into your inner space and truly trying to evaluate how they resonate with your inner voice. So the practice would simply be to take a more evaluative approach, a more honest approach to all that you experience in life. That is the gratitude practice for this week. So that we may learn when we are happy or sad about something and some circumstances it is really not serving us. That way we can hopefully learn how to move in a direction that would better serve our overall health and happiness. And this could be anything, like mentioned before, the foods we eat, the substances that we take in for other purposes, the the entertainment we take in, the friendships that we have, the relationships, the work, the job that we are in, and our home circumstances, the relationships we have or have not with our families, our friends. And that will be this week's episode of Thank You Life. Thank you, Life, for honesty. I don't know what I would do without this very useful method of guiding myself, keeping that door of gratitude open, that pathway towards health and happiness. So, thank you so much for joining me. I do hope and pray that you have a very wonderful, joyous day today, that you are open to being honest with yourself and others, but also kind and considerate, compassionate as well to yourself and others. Perhaps next week we will talk about compassion. And I do hope you will join me for that episode as well. Thank you so much, my friend, for joining me on this episode of Thank You Life. And I hope that you're able to remain thankful, grateful, and honest in your life. God bless you. Have a great day. Namaste.